Okay, so here we are. This tutorial is going to be a little bit more advanced, adding more logic to your ship leader, including adding more waypoints, adding some icons to let the player know where the ships are, and removing those icons when the ships are destroyed. Okay, so let's talk about how to do that. So first, we have our waypoint here, and remember the mission begins 10 seconds later, and then the ships start tugging along towards this waypoint. Now with this waypoint selected, that's what I have selected right now, this waypoint selected, I'm going to hold down shift, and when I do, I'm going to left click, and you'll notice that automatically it draws a target to the next waypoint, setting that waypoint on, because remember I said waypoints are disabled by default, but this waypoint will activate this waypoint. You see how that has that connection, and it'll say once that fires off, then it tells our leader again to, hey, go to this waypoint now. And I can keep doing that. I'll hold down shift, and now our ship is going to go all the way around like this, what we want. Of course, I don't need all that extra stuff, so I'm just going to delete them. And again, holding down shift, and we'll create our one little waypoint. That's all we need. And I'm going to rename this guy to waypoint. I like to name them that. Okay, so that's how you make waypoints. Fairly simple, right? But we want to let our player know that, hey, waypoints are going off. So again, I'm in NCUs, and I'm clicking on our icon here. I'm holding down shift, and I'm going to click to this one. And then I'm going to hold down shift. I clicked in here, and shift and click there. Okay, so now our icons will look good. I'm going to select them all here. Boom, 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 and boom. And how I'm doing that is by holding down Control and left clicking to select them. And you can hold down Control to unselect. Fairly simple. And I'm going to go to Advanced Properties here. Change the color to 134, which is red. And I can't type today. That's okay. And line type, we're going to leave it as normal, but then you can mess with all the other types. I have another post about all that. And we're going to say only the allies can see what's going on, where the ships are at currently. Okay, so we have a problem right now, and it's these two guys right here. We don't want these icons enabled, because these two icons will actually draw a line here. There's going to be a line here, and a line here, and a line here. We don't want that drawn. Okay, so we're going to actually disable these guys. So I'm going to uncheck enable. So now they're turned off, but these guys, and you can see they're turned on as soon as the mission starts. So now the ship's going to tug along. This icon will be activated for our allies to see the ships are moving towards this point, but they won't see this icon initially. So let's set that logic up so that they can see that icon. So I'm going to go to my timers here under MCU, and we'll do 1 second, something like that. Give it a little bit of a timer, and then I'm going to do another timer, and this one is going to be a switch. Now the cool thing about switches, and remember this guy has no time, and this one has, oops, I forgot, 1 second. Okay, so the cool thing about a switch is you can, or why I create switches is because I can add a deactivate to our switch, and maybe some logic comes into this deactivate and hits the switch, and this is sort of an advanced topic. But basically, the deactivate hits a switch, and anything the switch is connected to, let's say these icons as an example. Well, they can't connect icons, but let's say, we'll call this some other logic, right? So if I fire off this deactivate, then this turns this off, and therefore nothing beyond here, beyond the switch, will fire off until I reactivate that switch. So let's see if I can find it. Activate, where is it? Here you are, activate. So boom, right? Pretty cool, right? So then I can reactivate it, and now anything that fires off the switch will turn on. That's kind of an advanced topic, but we're not gonna mess with that. Okay, so 1 second. So basically the ship gets its waypoint 1 second later, and then something fires off. And so what we want firing off is an activate and a deactivate. If I can actually click, there we go. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to deactivate old icons, right? And we're going to activate our new set of icons. And so we'll do this, and I'm going to do another one of these, and I'm just going to name this T 100 milliseconds. Just to give it a slight delay to turn on the new ones. 100 milliseconds, and target those. Okay, so what you can see here is gets waypoint, 1 second later, hits the switch just in case you need to turn any logic off, and this is our logic we got going on. But that's an advanced topic we're not talking about. And then from there, it goes to my deactivate old icons, and 100 milliseconds later, it activates the new icons. All right, so let's connect this deactivate icons to the icons we want to turn off. That's these guys here, and we want to turn these guys on. All right, so that is fairly simple, and I like a little bit of cleanup here, make it look nice. Okay, so that's it. Now the ship tugs along, gets this waypoint, fires off. 1 second later, these icons turn off, and these icons turn on. Oh, and I made one mistake. That's okay. Let's select these icons here, and we have to remove the name, or you'll see the name in the mission. We don't want to see that name. We just want to see the line. Okay, so that looks good. We have additional waypoints. We have icons to show the player what's going on. Let's add another icon for our bad guys and our good guys. We'll say both these. It'll be enabled. It doesn't matter what color. And in this case, we're going to say attack enemy ships. That'll make it red since we selected Russian. You know, even though this is blue, we selected Russian. It's like inverted in the editor, which is weird. We'll say Russian ships. Okay, so now both sides can see this icon, but only the allies can see these lines that we just did. But we want to have a second icon that says, hey, the Russian ships are destroyed. So we'll say Russian ships destroyed, and I do in big letters, like, hey, you got them, you destroyed them, okay? And we're going to disable this one, right? Because that one shouldn't be enabled until all our ships are destroyed. Okay, so how can we make that logic? So first, I am going to add another switch. And the same reason as before, just in case I need to turn off the logic. I'm selecting all the ships here. I'm right-clicking, select object from menu, and I'm going to say, where is it? On killed. Okay, and now they all go to our on killed. And actually, this is a good time where you can, instead of doing this sort of switch thing, you can do some of Jim's logic and stuff like that. He has a really good damage display switch, which is cool. But anyway, back on topic. Sorry for my tangent. Attack ships, timer, another timer here. And we're going to give this timer, we're going to do about 3 seconds. This way we don't send anything to the server or the mission for 3 seconds, just in case the player's like diving on the ship and then all of a sudden all this logic hits the mission. You're like, oh, and the player loses FPS, or maybe the server lags or something, and then they crash into the ground. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to give them a 3 second window to like get away from the ship or finish their dive or whatever, and then logic will fire off onto the mission or into the server. All right, so 3 seconds later, then we need a counter. And our counter here, we're going to set to 3. And we don't want it to fire off again. We only want it to fire off one time. I'm going to rename it to counter 3. All right, so now what's going to happen is let's say the players destroy this ship, the boom, boom, 1. Then they destroy this ship, boom, boom, 2. And then finally they destroy the last ship, boom, boom, 3. All right, so on the third ship, on all the ships destroyed, then we need to fire off some other logic here. So let's do that. So go here, we'll do timer, and this one literally is another switch, just in case I need to turn that off. And then we need a deactivate icons, right? So we're going to click on here, and we need an activate icons. Click here, and another timer. And again, I'm copy and pasting T 100 milliseconds. And this is exactly the same way I did the other ones. All right, so after 3 hits the switch, then we deactivate this guy and all of these guys here too. Right, we want to make sure that all the icons are turned off. And we also want to make sure that just in case they hit the waypoint here, that this guy doesn't fire off and turn them back on. Okay, so that's why we have a switch. And this is a good example of why we need to have switches so we don't turn stuff on. Okay, so now all these guys are turned off, all those icons are turned off, and we're going to turn on the destroyed ship. So now we're saying, hey, this ship is destroyed, or all the ships are destroyed. And let's rename these guys. So we're going to say deactivate all icons and activate destroyed icon. All right, and there you go. So now we have waypoints, we have icons, and we have some logic set up for the ships being destroyed with this guy right here and so on. Pretty simple. Maybe not simple. Anyway, if you have questions, let me know.